like criticism to put man down. So Raspect dealt with the drive-by criticism. Gary and the other brother dealt with my guy already. So obviously, I wouldn't even come out here to deal with my guy because he's not important like that. So when I saw the thing, I ain't come out. You know what I'm saying? I'm here now to just expose the fact that my man woke up that morning, he didn't know what he was talking about. So he's come with an argument and he doesn't even know what his argument was that day. So I'm going to ask you to repeat your argument.
There was 2 arguments.
Alright, go on.
What did you ask me when you were surrounded, when you all ganged up on Raj, and I came in and we spoke? What did you ask me? Because you said I don't know my argument, but now let's see if you know yours. What did you ask me, brother?
Whether you support Tommy Robinson?
Yeah.
And you said no.
Yeah, and then what did you ask me?
And like Steve in the building.
Have you support Raj?
No, you asked me another question.
Maybe another time.
You said,
on camera, yeah?
What do you think of Tommy Robinson?
And you said you don't like him?
No, I said he was an idiot.
Yeah.
Right?
Alright.
Why did the conversation end there? It's like, it didn't go where you wanted it to. What if I'd have said, I supported him, which I don't, but what if I did?
If you supported him, I would have debated you on that premise.
I know, but why does the conversation end? At that point, it just dies. Because I didn't give you your narrative, so you just went, that's it.
Oh, shit.
You didn't support someone who's racist, so why have I got to debate with you? If you're supporting someone who I believe is racist, I'm gonna debate with you, innit?
What are you going to debate?
Huh?
There's
No,
to debate.
What was your original argument? You came down there, don't try to divulge
Brother,
from the original argument. What was your argument?
You surrounded Raj, that was the thing, right?
You didn't say that in the Gary debate. This is not what we're talking about in the Gary debate.
No, in the Gary debate.
Alright, what was your argument when you come to the park and say my name? No, when you say my name, your head has to get taken off.
Literally.
It's about heads coming off, we're not talking.
Heads will roll.
My head's not rolling fucking anyway.
Literal heads will roll. You get me? I'm telling you.
Did you, in the debate with the mixed race lad, the young lad, there was a statement made about Malcolm X, and I want you to tell me what you said. Did you diss him by calling him a light-skinned brother?
Did I diss Malcolm X? Do you know who my favourite revolutionary is?
He's my favourite too.
No.
Did you say it or not? If you say you didn't say it, that's fine.
That's one.
How would you know what my favourite revolutionary is?
If he's your favourite revolutionary, then your politics will reflect that. So my politics reflects
How do you know what my politics is?
My politics reflects everything.
I don't know what my politics is.
I do know your politics. You get me? Because
I only know 2 things about me.
What was Malcolm X's 2 organisations that he had before he died? If he's your favourite guy.
I'm not having that discussion.
What was his 2 organisations? What do you mean you're not having that discussion?
The discussion isn't about who Malcolm X is.
Because you don't know.
Did you make that
statement?
statement?
You don't know.
No, because that's your narrative.
I know
that's
who
what
the
you're
Trent Red
spinning.
is. I know the Trent Red. I know Malcolm X's journey, and before Malcolm X died, he came back, he left the Nation of Islam, and he started 2 organisations. One which was an organisation for all people, which was a spiritual organisation, yeah, and then a political.
Brother, that's not the discussion. What did you say about it?
A political organisation.
He doesn't want to talk about it.
For the black man and black woman to deal with their politics. And the reason why I'm pointing that out is because when I'm saying Malcolm X is my favourite political person, I mirror that same.
But what was the discussion?
And
if you want to tell me that what you said wasn't what I thought you said, that's fine. No. But did you say it or not?
I said that there's people of mixed heritage and
light skin. Just say what you said. That's what I'm asking.
I'm saying what I said. I said there's people of mixed heritage.
We've got it on video. We can check.
And light skin, yeah, that was working for the slave master and oppressor, yeah, during slavery, yeah, because there was a privilege. And then there was people like Malcolm X.
Privilege.
Yeah, and then there was people like Malcolm X who went against the grain and did not allow light-skin privilege to come in between him.
But would Malcolm X, when he was in the Nation of Islam, the things he was saying, would he not be included in the likes of Larry Elder today? Would he not be grouped in that? Would he not be called? Would he not be accused of cooning or whatever they say? Right? Would he not be accused of that? You say no.
Called you a coon, Raspect.
No, I said Malcolm X.
No, I said accused of cooning, the American term. You understand?
Malcolm X
He's a shit stir over there.
It's not like you.
It's not like
Behave
you.
yourself.
He's trying to draw my life. Man's rested. Man's well rested for speaking school, so I'm good. You get me? But what I'm saying is, yeah, Malcolm X has never been seen as a kid.
Okay,
trying to keep
So
that.
your
Why do you think that?
argument there is null and void again.
Trying.
Like anyone here.
I asked you a question. I didn't say. I didn't make an argument. I asked you a
What I'm saying
question.
is, just
I
that
asked you a
question,
simple question.
the question of whether Malcolm X is retarded or accused is a retarded question within itself, because Malcolm X, throughout his whole history, stood for black people unapologetically and unmovingly. So he's the complete opposite.
Taking responsibility was his message, though, right?
100%.
Right. And that's what Larry Elder's saying. And that's what Larry Elder's saying. And that's what Jesse Lee Peterson's saying.
But you got taking responsibility, and you've got also holding this society and this system responsible, regardless of how you feel like white people are going to treat you. This is the problem with black people.
don't like it, just
a
stand
lot
on
of
the
black
side and
people.
ain't saying
A
nothing.
lot of black people.
Leon, get in here.
A lot of black people.
I'm gonna be quiet.
No, get in here. Come on. Gang up on the white guy. Come on, get in here.
A lot of black people
Let's have a bit of black supremacy over here.
Are not confident to talk about, and Asian people as well. A lot of black people and Asian people are not confident to talk about the racism in this system. You understand? So although I do take responsibility, and you can't ask me if I take responsibility, because you see the G-walks where we go from ends to ends, from hood to hood, yeah, where the youth are killing each other, and we go to change it. That's taking responsibility. We're not pointing fingers and just saying the system, but at the same time, we're holding the system responsible for the estates that we live in, like prisons. We're holding the system responsible for the poverty that we're living in. We're holding the system responsible for the failure of the education system. We're holding the system responsible for the prejudice within the banking system, and the things that the system is responsible for, we're holding them responsible.
I get that. Doesn't mean we have to agree with it.
I don't care if you agree. It's
Well,
not about
there's
you.
no
If
conversation.
all white-
If you don't care what we think, there's no conversation.
I always say, yeah, if all white people love black people tomorrow, it's not going to change our situation, because black people are still going to be fighting amongst black people. We're still going to have hate for black people. All of the issues that are really within the black community are going to be the same.
So the implication there is that we're racist.
Listen, me reaching white people isn't going to change our situation. Now, if all black people was to love each other tomorrow and love ourselves, then we would demand respect from everyone else. So it wouldn't really matter.
Which is what Malcolm X's statement was, right?
Which is what man's about.
Okay, this is what we're saying.
Yeah.
But we're not accepting
where's the
necessarily.
Huh? So you're not accepting what?
We're not accepting your little message about how you're being oppressed.
What do you mean our message about
Are you being oppressed, or is it a class system? Is it a racist system, or is it a class system?
Okay. This is where
Have my people been oppressed?
This is where obviously Bob Marley called it educated fools. This is where white people just throw the thing in there.
Sorry, it's an ad hominem attack.
No, I'm saying educated fools, but it's a statement that's made. Because when you say is it a race system or a class system, you act like it's like, okay, let me explain it to you in layman terms. You got sexism, you got racism, you got classism. Yeah? Just because there's racism, there's still sexism and classism. You understand? The difference with classism is if you're oppressed because of your class, you can give an illusion of your class, you can look richer, and you can be treated differently, or your class could actually change because you could inherit, you could start a business. So if you're oppressed because of classism, that can change.
But I'm
if you're like my sisters over here, and you're oppressed because of racism or sexism, it cannot change. This is the difference between classism, racism, and sexism. So I'm not saying that there's not classism in this country, because the average white youth that lives on the estates that I'm talking about relates to what I'm saying more than some black people that live in richer areas.
But your claim is that they're oppressed by...
I still see classism, but what I'm saying is my white friends, when I grew up, they used to hold the weed. The reason why they used to hold the weed is because police didn't stop and search them. So there is racism. Like, the fact that there's oppression in this country, I'm talking about my experiences. It's like when women talk about sexism. I'm not a woman. I've never been through sexism. So how could I even make an argument that women should be talking about classism and not sexism, or racism and not sexism? I can't make that argument because I haven't been through what they've been through. I've got to listen to women.
No, but we can rationalise what they say.
And then when women come back to me, then I can put my analysis. That's what I'm showing you. At the beginning of this video, there was a guy who's not black. Yeah? And what did he say to me? He said, bruv, I'm loving the movement. I'm rating what you're doing for your people.
Okay, so that's anecdotal evidence that one guy loves you.
There's a white guy who's from No, it's not just one guy. It's people all
No,
over.
I saw one guy. That's anecdotal evidence.
Yeah,
one
no,
guy.
yeah, that's anecdotal evidence. No. If you want anecdotal evidence, go into
Anecdotal.
Go into content over everything and look at the comment section if you want anecdotal.
Yes, and that's true of a lot of the
Alright.
things here. A lot of Muslim chaps get a lot of love on the Dharma channel,
that's cool.
on the Socko channel, the Christians do, and so
that
forth.
doesn't take away from the reality.
Steve gets a lot of
what's
love on the
happening.
Atheists.
Yeah, right.
That doesn't take away from the reality of what I'm saying.
But we're talking, you're putting forward the argument about systemic racism. right?
Racism, systemic.
Okay, so let's hear
Yeah.
those arguments. Where's the systemic racism here today that you said?
Okay.
Lay it out.
See, when you build a house, yeah, you see when people say the system's broken, the system's not broken, the system was built like this. So when we're being oppressed, they're not being oppressed because the system
Feel
is
free to
broken. It was built like this. It was built on our oppression. It was built on the backs of black people. It was built on slavery.
And white people.
It was built on colonialism, primarily black people. And that's where you lot go wrong sometimes. I'm not saying that white people was not involved, but I'm saying that in Germany, in the war, when Americans captured the German other side, they war in Germany. So Americans war in Germany. This is a big world war, yeah. But when they captured the white guys were still able to eat with the white guys, and the black soldiers still had to eat in segregated positions. So even though
Did Hitler have many black soldiers?
Hitler probably had. Well, the guy, the famous runner from America, said that when he went to Germany, it was less racist than America. That was his experience over there. But what I'm saying is, this wasn't Hitler. This was the American side. When
The Arabs were also part of the Axis, right?
Listen, when the Americans captured their German enemies, you know how they talk about Germany all the time, World War.
Yeah, you're talking about treatment of prisoners of war.
When they
You're saying it's
captured
racist.
them, they were still able to eat on better tables than the black people who was fighting on the same side as the white people. So when I'm talking about systemic racism, this is what I'm talking about. This is just not.
I know, but brother, you jumped to World War II there. We're asking about now.
Huh?
We're asking about now. You
Prison
can't-
system.
You see what you
I mean, I can't
when
deny
you
that.
build
Or I can't
something on a
refute that
foundation,
information.
when you build something on a
Hey, brother, how you
foundation,
doing?
that foundation, yeah, if you build your house on sand, then that sand, yeah, it's not solid ground, yeah. So the fact that they've built it with the corruption is now embedded. It's embedded in the system. The prejudice is embedded in the system. If you check the statistics, this country itself will tell you that the police institution is systemically racist.
Some
You
senior police
understand?
officers have said that, yeah.
When we're talking about immigration, you understand? A lot of the time when the argument of immigration comes forward, it's just hidden racism. You understand? You just don't like people from other places. You understand? So what I'm saying is, this system, if we look at every institution, if we look at schooling, if we look at mental health, if you look at the prisons, if you look at the banking, no matter what system you look at, if you study it properly, you're going to see clear prejudices in there. And the problem is, when you don't want to see it, you want to deny it, you want to stand there and try to convince me like I'm crazy for what man's been going through. You understand? This is the problem. And then they wonder why there's a lack of unity. How can you unite with someone who completely ignores
I'm getting heckled,
what you're going through? You understand?
What's up?
One would say, the Englishman would say, each to their own. So why can't they all make themselves better?
That's what we're talking about.
But
We have no problem with the own side.
difference is
movement that will make
Right, that the higher you go up, right, there's going to be racism. Because the higher you go up, the more things they have to look up to keep to themselves.
There's definitely classism.
Yes, so yeah,
100%,
classism,
100%.
racism, sexism, all of them. The higher you go up, the
Homophobia.
more it's there.
Don't mention that one.
No, they didn't mention that.
And when we're talking about racism, we're not denying classism. We're not saying classism doesn't exist, and we're not saying classism isn't a problem. It is a problem. But classism doesn't refute
But
the
you've still
problem
got
of
to
racism.
give evidence of systemic racism. I agree that senior police officers have said that the police force is systemically racist, but you need to give evidence of systemic
You just
racism.
look at the
You're
statistics.
making.
I'm saying, yeah, I might not know the statistics off the top of my head, but I know
That's okay, you can go and get them. That's some other time, it
Every
doesn't matter.
time, no, because I know I've studied the statistics, and I know everyone here knows that the statistics of how black people are represented in a mental health institution, how we are represented when we're getting loans, when we're trying to get jobs, if we've got black names, we all know what it is. This ain't nothing new. And the thing is, when you try to come out, are you English?
Yes.
Okay, when you as an Englishman tries to come to all of us and pretend to us that, oh, there's no racism problem. Remember, we grew up in this country.
I think you just made it about
We grew
racism. Just
we-
asking me.
You're an
listen,
Englishman as well.
Listen,
You're an
listen,
Englishman
listen,
as well.
listen,
Are you an Englishman?
listen.
Are you an Englishman?
Listen, we grew up with the English guys
He's not
who
answering.
used to call the Scottish sheep herders. Who used to say the Welsh were goat shaggers. Who used to say that one minute, bro. Let's break this down. The same English guys in our class that told us the Scottish were sheep shaggers and the Welsh was this and the Irish were terrorists.
And the French smell.
Yeah? So what we're saying is within the UK,
Monkey trial, I think.
they don't even like the man them over there. So then boom, worse is the French and the Germany and us, and then they don't even like the Eastern Europeans. So how are they gonna think about me, a black man? I'm on the far spectrum of that side, but I can see how.
Because Africa doesn't behave like that, does it? One tribe in Africa doesn't hate the next tribe. What you're describing is humankind across the planet.
I can't say that I can point to one African culture that has caused genocide, all like spread genocide right
Calling
across the
Welsh
map.
people
like everywhere they
sheep-shaggers
went
is not a genocidal act.
No,
is it?
no. But what I'm saying is, I'm saying the actions of the people that did call the Welsh the sheep shaggers, yeah. Everywhere they went, they pillaged, they raped, and they stole. That's how they got powerful. So they're here
When
telling
did
you.
England do that in Wales?
No, I'm saying that English people, yeah, the same English people that was calling the people sheep shaggers, yeah, their history is written in pillaging, raping, and stealing. So they
Like
told me.
virtually every
So they
culture.
told me.
Like the Romans, like the Vikings,
Like every
like
culture.
every culture
I
throughout time.
I
The
don't think every
Mongols.
culture. I think when you do that, you.
Well, no, we're talking about facts, historical
I
facts.
think historical facts, yeah, is chattel slavery was the worst crime done to humanity.
Well,
ever.
if you're Jewish, you probably disagree with that. If
I
you're
think-
Jewish, you probably
I
disagree
think the
with
Jewish
that.
war was 6 years, and I think that.
Steve asked you if you were English, Respect.
I think the Jewish
You
war.
English?
I think the Jewish war lasted 6 years, and I think our slavery was not 6 years. It wasn't 12 years. It wasn't.
So every
10 years,
synagogue
it
doesn't
wasn't
have
10
security
years,
on the
it
door
wasn't 30
today.
years, it wasn't 40
So every
years, it
synagogue
wasn't 50
doesn't
years,
have
it wasn't
security
100
on the
years,
door
It wasn't
today.
200 years. It wasn't 500 years, and you still want to come and
Every
compare what they
synagogue
did to
has
us.
got security on the door today.
No,
What are you talking about? 6 years.
What are you talking about?
Every synagogue has security on the door to keep
And-
people out that want to kill them, that want to call them harm.
Palestine. Do you want to start the debate about Palestine? Viva Palestina.
Churches don't have security
bro.
on the door. Wherever Rastas go to worship collectively, they don't have
Because we
security
have the
on the
Most High
door.
protecting us. Them man have devils protecting them. Because remember, them man are dealing with a devilish order. You understand? Because them
All Jews are devilish.
No,
Is that what you're
are
saying?
you listening? This is what I'm
Jews
saying.
are devilish.
This is what I'm
Be
saying.
careful what you're saying.
No, I don't have to be careful of anything I'm saying. I'm not mincing my words. Yeah, I'm not gonna mince my words. Yeah, the people that went and invaded the land of
What, the Romans? You're talking about the Romans or the Vikings?
Right now, I'm
Who are
talking
you
about the
talking
Jews and the
about?
Palestinians.
Oh,
Yeah, and if you're talking about Jewish
You're
people,
picking and choosing
in
your empires,
every
aren't you?
power
he
place.
doesn't like.
You're
in
picking
ev-
and choosing
in
your
ev-
colonial
in ev-
imperial
in ev-
powers,
No,
aren't
no,
you?
no, no.
Let's ignore the Soviets, let's ignore the Romans, let's ignore the Chinese, let's ignore the
we're talking about
the
now. We're talking about the
Mongolians.
most current. We're talking about the most current genocide on the planet. That's what we're talking about.
Russia you have invaded Ukraine within the last 5 years. Russia's invaded Georgia within the last 10 years. You are not current. You are not current.
And that had nothing on the whole colonialism of Africa.
Oh really? So Putin isn't a colonial imperialist? Are you serious?
Not on the
Are you
levels, not on the
serious?
levels of Britain. No. Are you
Because
mad?
Britain's the worst.
Are you mad?
Because Britain's the worst.
100%. 100%.
We do a different type of killing.
Obviously,
When other people do killing, it's a
what we have
different
to
kind of- it's
understand
okay killing. When
is
we do it, it's bad
when you went to
killing.
school in this country, how did they tell you to be successful?
When we have
they
slaves,
told
it's a
you
terrible
to
slave.
go to school
When
and
Arabs
then
have
go to
slaves,
college
apparently it's not that
and then
bad.
go to uni and then work hard because that's how you'll be successful. But what did we learn in the history books? Because we want to know how you were successful. Because we want to follow you in it because you're successful. So let's find
And
out.
when you're in Jamaica, you learn about Jamaica's success.
and
When
then-
you're in
and
Thailand,
then-
you learn
and
about
then-
Thailand's success.
yeah.
Nothing unusual about what you're
Yeah, they learn about
describing.
Britain.
It happens around the world.
But what I'm saying is, when we learn about
Does
the
it
success
not?
over here, we learn that in order to become successful, you have to rob, pillage, and steal. That's what we learned
That's
from
the
this
message
country.
you took, right?
Yeah.
That's how the
That's what the history says.
That's what me and Steve do at the weekend.
That's what the history book says.
We rape,
No,
pillage,
you don't
and
have
rob.
to anymore.
Why don't we do it? Why don't we do
said
it?
it was
Why
the
didn't
most
we
current.
take that message?
Because you've already got the peas. You don't have to. How you gonna rape anything
Yeah, they
more?
shared it out, didn't they? The elite. The Queen knocked on my door and handed out the cash to me. The serfs. She gave the serfs the cash.
100.
Where's this shit coming from?
What I'm saying is,
You're making it a race.
that point?
regardless.
It's okay.
There's people that own the factories and there's people that work in the factories. They may both be white, but they're
Or
not the
both
same.
be black.
No, but what I'm saying is, I'm saying
It's
regardless
class,
of that,
isn't it?
regardless
It's class,
of
thank
that,
you.
there's still a privilege that comes along with the race. There's still access.
What's your take on the fact that white working class boys are now doing the worst? What's your take on that? What's your take on that?
My take on that is the same. My take on that is the same take I have when they say that immigrants are taking white people's jobs. I'm saying that if someone like Uncle Jamal can come from wherever he comes from and take your job and he's not speaking full
That's
English,
not what we're not talking about taking jobs. We're talking about
we're saying white working
achievements of white working class boys that are now the lowest of the low.
That's on to
What's
them,
your take
innit?
on that?
That's on to them. They've got all of they've got all of the resources. They've got all of the resources. They've got everything at their fingertips. They've got nothing in their way. They have got our African.
So why are they fucking failing? Why are they failing?
That's on them. You got to ask them.
You're not
that.
worried about that as
But
a
it's
fellow
not, but
human
what he's
being
saying is it's not
on the
blacks.
estate.
I'm
You're not worried about
blacks,
that.
it's not whites, it's not blacks, though.
I'm worried about the deficit
Because they don't have this
off the
special
back of the
privilege that we
colonialism
have.
that you're pretending didn't happen.
So your white brothers on the estates next door to you don't give a shit about, is what you're saying?
No, I'm saying the death of people in Africa as a result
There are
of
lots of
colonialism.
problems around the world.
Yeah, that's
There are
right.
lots of problems
So when
around the
when
world.
show me
So you don't worry about your brothers.
When you show
You're not worried about
me, when you
your
show me my
brothers.
white friends that are dying from class, then I'll start worrying. But that's what white privilege is. You can worry about class. I have to worry about dead brethren and dead youths. We've got different issues. That's why you go and march about cuts. We march about police brutality. We've got different issues. This is what white privilege is, Steve.
Well said.
Well said.
Bang.
Oh, bravo. There you go.
Boom. Boom. Gang.
You got what you wanted, but you haven't changed fuck all. You've not said anything truthful.
Well, I'm not here for you know.
Who are you?
No,
here
you're here
for?
for you.
I'm here for the
This
truth
is
and the
your
truth alone.
fandom here, look.
No,
Your
this is
fandom.
my family.
This is your
this is my family.
black privilege.
This is my family.
Your
It's not
black
fandom.
privilege.
And when
Is
you
it
look
black
around,
privilege?
you see people from every blood clot where.
But the white guys, because it's racist, right? The white
No,
guys,
we
you
got
don't give a
white
shit,
guys on
'cause
our
that's their
side.
problem.
We
That's
got
your
white
problem.
guys on our
No,
side.
but
just
you
pointed
made
them
them
out
right
and you
there.
didn't give a shit
No,
about
I'm
them.
saying no.
I just pointed those white guys out.
You pointed them
And you
out
didn't
as
seem to
if
care.
no. It's not
That's the impression
Can I
you
explain
gave.
to you that I'm dealing
Impression
with
you
deaths
gave.
and they're not dying? When they start dying, I'll start caring. I promise.
So they have to die for you to care.
No, what I'm saying is right now I'm dealing with the people that are
That's
dying.
it, basically.
I'm dealing with the people that are dying. That's what I'm dealing with. I'm dealing with my little brothers in the streets that are dying right now. So right
His
now,
argument is they're dying
my
because
brethren's over there. My white brethren's they're cool. I'm telling you.
But
I'm telling you.
is that white- is that white
You see them
people's
saying
fault?
white
Is it
guys.
white
You
people's
see them
fault?
saying white guys. They're the ones that are giving the man in the boxes of food. See the white guys at the bottom of the chain. They're at the top of the food chain, like on the streets. So you might feel like they're down, but them white guys are still driving around. They're still
So you're
nice.
talking about white homeless people? What are you talking about? I don't know what you're talking about.
White homeless.
Saying even at the bottom there's a hierarchy.
I'm saying even on
So
the
homeless
street,
people.
I'm saying
Homeless
even,
white
I'm saying
people have
even
still
in the-
got white privilege.
I'm saying
Are you
even in the
serious?
streets, the white boys.
In comparison to a
what I'm
black-
saying-
Homeless
oh,
white
let me-
people
all right,
sleeping in the
all
gutter
right, let me
tonight
explain-
have white
let me
privilege.
explain
You're
it
not
to you
serious.
to understand.
He
We
is
used to
serious,
roll with a
that's the
couple
problem.
white guys, one named
And everyone around
one
him
name
believes
one
him.
name Ideal and one named D-Rock. And anytime these guys went into the shop, they used to buy stuff because they had money. Yeah? Anytime their birthdays came around, they got a lot of money. One was Irish, one was English. You got a
going
lot
to
of money.
work,
What I'm saying is us black youths, we lived a whole different life. We was all on the struggle together. We was all hustling together. We was all shotting together. But at the same time, my white brethren had it a little
Black
bit
schools,
easier.
black kids at my school
Even
did.
when
They
the
got
man
jobs
even when the
everywhere.
man that was ready to work, it was our white brethren that got us the jobs. Because the white guys had the access. Steve, if you ain't got a white friend, you can't get a job out here.
Did you hear what he just said? If you have a white friend, you can't
You
get a
can't get a job, it's hard.
Come on.
I'm telling you shit.
How many black people are running businesses? How many black guys and women
was
are
the
running
first person
businesses?
to employ me. He's a white guy, he wasn't a black guy. As a youth worker.
We'll find a black guy to give you a job.
No, I got a black guy to give me a job, but it happened way later on in my life. And there's not as many black people that have institutions and industries in order to employ our own, which is why we're talking so much about
So
economics.
the black people I went to university with and the black people that went and worked in banks, the same as I did, got exactly the same pay. What happened to them?
Okay, well, my mum, I don't know.
Yeah,
about-
we did them
I
in
don't-
Behaviour. They worked hard.
I don't know about that. I don't know about
And
that.
you're
I don't know.
undermining
I
that
don't-
shit.
I don't know about that. I don't know about that. I don't know about that.
That's
One minute,
bullshit.
one minute, one minute.
Bullshit.
I don't know about that. My mum told me.
Dream on, you just
my
wanna
mum-
perpetrate
my mum-
racism.
my
That's
mum
what
told
you're
me-
here for.
My mum
You're
told
here to
me,
perpetrate
and all you black
racism. You're a
people here,
racist, That's
know
what
what
it
I'm
comes down
saying?
to.
If you're in this country, you have to work twice as hard. You have to work twice as hard. And we're cool with it.
And you
Yeah,
have to
because
shout
we're
twice
warriors.
as
Well,
much.
funnily enough,
Battlers.
in
Yeah,
my
you
in
can't-
my
you-
team,
you
I've got
can't-
2
you
white
can't-
girls, a black girl, and an Asian girl. They all work exactly the same. You are talking bollocks. I'm sorry. Exactly the same. And do you know, actually, the black girl is probably the strongest out of all of them. But they all work exactly the same. You are talking nonsense.
Steve is trying to equate that he knows what those black girls had to do to get to the same
I
place.
know what they do.
No.
I'm their
What
manager.
I'm saying
I know
is,
precisely what they do.
you don't know what their struggle was, their actual background, their history, their mother, their father. You don't know what they had to do. Yeah, what I'm saying.
You're not my director. She's a woman and 30 something. You're not.
What I'm saying is my mum, yeah, my mum senior, my mum.
You are being so insulting to that girl that I was just referring to.
My
You are
mum,
being so insulting.
my
to
mum
her.
was more qualified than her seniors. My mum was more qualified than her seniors. My mum had more experience than her seniors. But my mum was still below the white woman above her. Yeah? But my mum didn't know why.
What did
yeah?
she do?
My mum was in connections. She had a white woman above her, but my mum was more qualified and she done more. But my mum was below her. This is my life. This is my experience.
So no one else's experiences count.
I think a lot of other people have experienced it as well.
20 years in this business.
Yeah? Come on, bruv. And still doing cleaning jobs. And still doing the cleaning jobs that a lot of you don't want to do. Let's be real.
Now the finance director.
Yeah?
So you don't have more experience than me. 20
Shut
years.
up.
Alex is on a wind up at the moment.
Trust me, like, obviously.
We don't trust you, that's the point.
I don't trust you.
I know you don't, because you're a racist.
You don't have to trust me. I'm not asking you to trust me. I've never ever come here once and said anything about you. You ain't even in my reality. I only addressed you today. You're
good.
irrelevant. I addressed you
We're
today because I saw
Why are you addressing irrelevant?
Because man's here, innit? And I see him, so I said, let me just run
Camera,
up.
eh? Camera, that's what's most important.
The camera's more important. The fame. The fame.
Roll up with fam. I don't need speakers.
Who's got the
corner.
beer? Who's handing the beer out?
I don't need speakers corner for fame. If you know about man, you know that I had 400,000 views on YouTube.
How
way
many?
before
How many?
Speakers Corner.
How many?
400,000 before
Wow.
Speakers Corner on my own channel for sticking it on feds.
That's
Yeah,
so good.
Speakers Corner did not make me famous, bro. I brought hype to Speakers Corner, if anything, fam. Content brought hype to Speakers Corner, if anything.
Yeah, he did. I'm not sure about you.
The thing's popping now. You understand? You understand?
Divide and conquer.
You can't divide the rule of gangsters.
How can anyone diss this man
That's
ever?
my G.
How can anyone
That's
ever?
my G. You can't diss the
He's
G.
supposed
You
to
can't
come
diss
round
him.
here. He's
I head
Exactly,
top-
that's what I just said.
head top
No
for
one
that.
could. No one
I
could.
head top man for that still. Can't diss Leon. You get me? Head top man for that.
Still waiting for some evidence.
What's this, Leonism?
Yes, exactly.
But are you listening though? Yeah, this is the main thing.
You want evidence?
Like, obviously, don't get it twisted. Yeah.
Not anecdotal evidence, actual evidence.
I'll give you evidence. My office says 150.
Not anecdotal evidence. Do you understand what anecdotal means? Don't give it to me. You're boring me already.
Let me just finish my sentence.
All right, explain antidote after these 50%.
Not antidotal.
100.
Anecdotal.
Listen, 150 people work in my office. 100% of them are white middle class people, apart from me. Yeah, I don't fit in.
Nor do I. Welcome to the club. It's
None of them are from
called
London.
classism.
None of them are from London. There's far more people from London that look like me, right? They're not represented in that business. And there's a reason for it. Yeah, there's a reason for it. And there's decisions that were made long before you and I were born, bro. We're not blaming you. We're just saying recognize the reality.
But Bad man, you know why you got Bad man, yeah? It's because we got these lot ain't. No, but what I'm saying is these man, yeah. I don't expect them to understand, yeah. The kind of white people that understand are white people that come from the same place as us. If you lived on the estate,
But you just demonstrated you don't give a shit about them.
No.
You demonstrated 10 minutes ago because they're white and they're not dying. You don't care about them. They're not dying and they're white. You don't care about
I
them.
pointed out very specifically that my white brethren used to hold the weed because they knew they
Is
would.
that what it's all about? Holding weed, for goodness
Bruv, they
sake?
used to do
Is that all it's about?
Yeah,
Come on.
yeah.
You're better than
Yeah,
that. You're better than
100.
that.
The reason why they used to hold the weed is because they knew they was comfortable. They knew they had a privilege that we didn't have as black youths. They knew they have a privilege to be treated like human beings. No, it's not, because this privilege is understandable. Because when the officer sees him, he sees his nephew, he sees, that looks like Jack, he looks like Darren, that was at the fucking pub the other night. You have a relation point with me, I'm a nigger. And that's how it is in every industry. It's not just the police,
Every industry.
it's the bank, it's every industry. There are people-
Music production, every industry.
100%.
Every single
you know the Jews in your bridges run the music industry.
that discriminate like he's talking about? Any? Have you ever met any?
Never.
Have you ever?
Never.
No, it's not. Because if it's there, if it's systemic, where is it? Where is it? We've still got no evidence. We've got no evidence.
So institutional racism doesn't happen.
We have police, senior police officers have said it happens. Yeah.
No,
But
it's
they're
no.
not giving any evidence.
No.
Just said it happens.
The report was based upon statistics. They didn't just come out with an.
Statistics?
They didn't just come out.
I saw a blanket
You
statement.
said it applies in healthcare. How does it apply in healthcare?
In mental health.
How?
We're disproportionate.
All mental health healthcare is not invested
We're
in.
disproportionately.
All of mental health care is undersourced.
Do you know why we're disproportionately?
All of mental health care is
Do you know why we're
undersourced.
disproportionately represented?
Tell me.
Yeah, we're disproportionately represented because we're attacked more, just like we're
Attacked?
Yes, for example. The reason why we're 80% of the jails is because we're
talking about health
No,
care.
yeah, but it all makes sense if you just let me finish, yeah? We are 80% of the jails, yeah, when we're only 18% of London because we are stop and search more. You stop and search Asian people more, you're gonna have more Asian people in the jail. You stop and search white people more, you're gonna have more Asian. So we're attacked more from that industry. It's the same thing with mental health. You understand? We're attacked more.
Attacked what in the hospital?
Yeah, but fam, I know people that have gone to doctors and had conversations with doctors and then been signed into the mental sections, and I know people that have been arrested and been sectioned.
Do you know how many doctors have to agree to a section?
And I know people, and there's many people that know this from the black community that have gone into a mental institution sane and came out insane. Yeah?
And I tell you, that's been happening for centuries to all people.
Yeah? But what I'm saying is we're disproportionately represented. We're disproportionately represented. Run, Neverman, run.
Casual
racism. Casual racism.
Just admit you're racist.
No, you're a devil, man.
Your whole
Why is he a devil?
narrative, you are tied into racism and you can't let it go, brother. You can't let it go.
Let me show you something, yeah?
You can't let it go.
If a black guy...
You're a racist.
If a black
You're
guy comes with your mentality, he's a bigger devil than you. So don't worry.
No. So you mean
You're not the worst then.
isn't a
You're the
racist?
worst. No,
He's a
he's the
devil
worst.
because he's not a racist.
No. I'm not a racist, duh.
What do you mean, duh? What, a black person can't be racist?
Racism is prejudice plus power.
And no black people have power.
Listen. When we said that we was
Did Malcolm X have power? Did Malcolm X have power?
When black people talk about racism, it's not because white people came to the shores and said nigger. They could have said nigger until their tongue goes dry. If they didn't enslave, colonize and rape us, there would have been no problem. We would have loved that nigger word. Do you understand? Calling me a nigger isn't racism. Racism was prejudice, but when you got the power to influence my life with that prejudice. Yeah? So that's what the system of slavery was, that's what the system of colonialism was, and that's what the system of institutional racism is. This is why black people cannot be racist. I can think all I want about white people, and it's not going to affect white people.
Really?
It's not going to affect white people. Listen,
sure about that?
listen, let me finish. It's not going to affect white people in banking, it's not going to affect white people in schooling.
What about your neighbours? What about your colleagues?
It's not going to
What about
affect you in any institution of power. If you, as a white person, has prejudice against me, 9 times out of 10, it's going to affect me in banking, it's going to affect me in the police, it's going to affect me in all the institutions. This is why we say racism is prejudice plus power.
Political ideology.
My G.
Don't agree.
Like Raspect dropping them gems.
I don't agree.
And also pointing that out doesn't make you racist.
You have a slightly different definition of racism.
No. Racism.
If I
Wait. Can the raper define what rape is? Yeah.
I'll give you a scenario.
So when white people when white people try to define what racism is, black people in America said they must be mad.
You are so binary, aren't you? It's either black or white.
How could we allow them to define what racism is? And the way they defined racism was in a way which hid the actual crimes of racism and what we actually had a problem with. So what we actually had a problem with was not the prejudice. White people could think like white guy. If a white girl doesn't like white people don't like me, it's cool. But what I'm saying is, if that's affecting me in my everyday life, in every institution I'm dealing with in this country, that's where the problem is, and that's where always the problem with racism has been. The problem with racism hasn't been the fact that my neighbour doesn't like me. That don't affect me. It's when the police disproportionately stop and search me, and now it's left me to be more criminalised than my white counterpart who's rolling around with all the cocaine in it, and all I've got is some ganja.
Always come down to the ganja, doesn't it?
I'll type rap book, come on. Herbs is the healing.
You reckon?
100.
And you want to talk about mental health?
Huh?
You want to talk about mental health?
100%.
You don't see any connection?
Nah, man, I think
connection at all.
Rastas are the sanest people in the world, and they burn a lot of ganja. I think the Rasta message of one love and like reggae music and all that, I think it's the sanest message in the world. And they smoke a lot.
Also, just to add to that, the opposite, Somalis don't use marijuana very often. It's not a thing.
What's that mental health?
It's not, and it's catastrophic.
That mental health is catastrophic.
Mogadishu has something like 40% of people in Mogadishu will suffer from a catastrophic mental health
Why is that,
episode because several for the last 20 years. I don't know if you know that.
Yeah.
So just because somebody smokes weed doesn't mean that they're gonna have a psychotic episode. It may trigger a psychotic episode, yes, but they might help it. But if it did trigger it, they already had a disposition for it.
100%. 100%. There's no science.
So there is no
to actually
correlation.
prove that.
Because if there was a correlation, Somalis wouldn't be heavily overrepresented in the
Well, it
mental
doesn't
health
have to be the only thing, does
But I'm
it?
just saying, I'm giving you an example of a group of people that don't smoke weed, right?
Yeah, but as you then pointed out, it's the war and it's what they're being
Yeah, but I'm saying
exposed
even
to.
in this country, in London, right, we are heavily overrepresented in the mental health institutions, right? And we don't smoke weed like that, bro. Right? We don't, innit? So if what you're saying is true and there's a direct correlation between the
There
two.
can be, but it doesn't mean there aren't other things that also cause it.
But anyway, if what you're saying was true, we would be the sanest people in the world, and
You're not listening to what I'm saying,
and Rastafarians would have a catastrophic mental health.
He's going to die in a sense. How are we going to get in charge of him for a whip? No way, Steve, you're not meant.
I'm back, sorry. My friend's on the phone. I'm going in. I want to listen to someone
The
more
devil's
racism.
back.
I'm interested in
It's not
some
racism. Just point. How is pointing out racism make you racist? I don't
And
understand.
he's
discriminating.
By the way,
That's not what he's saying.
you can look at so many videos where this guy's called himself a devil. So this guy, not you, I never called you a devil. He calls
Am
himself.
I not a devil?
He's like King. He calls
do
himself
mockery, and I do
King.
sarcasm.
Am I a devil?
Huh?
Am I not a devil?
I don't know what you are.
Which means you
Call
could be,
yourself a
right? You
devil.
can't say you're
I don't know
not.
what you are.
We haven't even talked.
I don't. Yeah, we don't
And I
know.
think you probably
don't
will
know.
conclude I am. These bros know.
At least everyone's laughing. That's good. That's
Exactly.
No, we
Laughing's
got banner.
good.
We got banner. Listen, pointing out racism doesn't make you a racist.
I don't think anyone suggests that is.
Yeah,
Yeah, but I'm saying it's part of the problem. To go on about that, to spin that narrative.
One second. Do you appreciate? Can I just make one point?
Yeah, let the brother make a
Do you appreciate that the people that designed this society, the Adam Smiths of the world,
designed
The elites.
the elites, yeah, believed in this eugenics bollocks. All of them, 100% heavily invested into it.
They were happy to fuck us as much as they were happy to fuck anybody of brown skin. Trust me.
True, poor working class white people got it as well. I mean,
Serfs, man, they were serfs. They couldn't even travel from one town to the next.
But they don't make it the same as what happened to black people in Jamaica or the south of America. It's not the same. Do not
I know, it's
equate.
really-
do not equate
I know,
or
it's
compare.
really difficult.
It's insulting when
I
you
know.
equate it.
I didn't equate it.
But you are by bringing it up. You're
We're
equating
talking
the two.
about here and now in this country.
Okay.
The fact that we can
One
talk
second,
like
let's go
this,
back,
brother,
let's go
the
back.
fact that we can
Fair
do
enough,
this
fair enough. One second,
is a
one second,
testament
one second.
to this
One second.
country.
So-
Is it not, Steve?
If you accept,
Absolutely.
We're not killing each other.
If you accept, Adam Smith and Winston Churchill and all these
I
people,
don't. I don't like
and
either of them.
And the elites, were heavily invested in this eugenics politics. Why can't you understand there is a legacy to that?
There is a legacy.
That's what I'm saying to you. That's what we're pointing out.
This narrative that he is spinning is encouraging this race divide.
Listen,
I am
He's calling me devil. He's calling me devil.
No, I didn't call you a white devil. I called you a devil. Yeah? Let's get it right. Let's get it right. Yeah? I called you a devil.
Yeah, look, look.
I called you a
Look,
devil.
black
It's all
supremacy.
about
He wants the camera.
Listen, yeah.
Racist.
One thing, everyone in the park, yeah. When you see Raspect talking, do I talk about racism? Do I talk
All the
about white
time.
people?
All the time.
You here?
Do I talk about white people?
That's
I
what
don't.
you hear.
I talk about the black community. I talk
Yeah,
about. I
that's
talk about the
true,
youth.
that's true.
I talk about ways
you
to
do,
solve
you
it.
do.
That's what I talk about.
You also called me a white devil.
Conversation is I called you a devil, not a white devil. Don't remix it.
You said it means you lied. You said I was a white devil.
That's why you're a devil.
Why am I a devil?
That's what, because you're remixing the truth. I called you a devil, not a white devil.
Any truth.
And I let you know.
Remixing.
And I let you know that a black man.
Remixing here,
a black man who denies what we
got a
go
bit of electro
through,
on the table.
in order to fit in with you, is a worse devil than you. You understand? So I let you know that anyway. But what I'm saying is, yeah.
He got lost in his own bullshit then. Did you see that? He ran and then he went, what was I saying about white devils? I've fucking forgotten.
I said a black man, I'll say it again,
Black man. You're oppressed, we're oppressors.
A black man,
we're nasty.
Who tries to hide racism in order to...
Why are you trying to make it so binary?
That's why I'm saying
Because he's making it binary. We're taking the piss.
There are nuances.
And we accept
the reality,
that.
the reality is this. The reality
But saying there's a hierarchy in homeless people is fucking ridiculous.
I'm sure he does think there's
I never talk about
I don't buy that at all. A white homeless guy is better off than a black homeless guy.
Based on what?
What are you
Based on what?
Based upon if he puts on a suit and a tie and gets his fucking...
He's not, he's fucking homeless.
He's homeless!
If he goes to a charity shop, and takes £5 of his fucking of his homeless money and gets a little
He really
tape up,
believes.
He really thinks
You
St.
look like a
Mungo's,
businessman.
Broadway, all the charities that help homeless people are going to treat him differently if he's black than if he's white. Bollocks.
I don't fun. It's the people.
That's
and
the reality of London. It's St. Mungo's. It's Broadway that are helping about outreach, helping homeless people.
It's the people's mentalities, and because the media pushes
Whose
that, because the
mentality?
media
Do you know how many
pushes that racist
white
narrative.
drug addicts get rehab and black drug addicts get sent to prison? And they're in exactly the same situation. They're taking the same drug, bro. One goes to rehab, one goes to prison.
And the thing is, you could be in denial, but there's white people.
We're not in denial.
Yes, you are, because
No,
there's
we're
white
saying
people.
it's not true.
There's white people like
Big
Tim
difference.
Wise, and there's white women like Jane Elliott who have made studies.
Jane Elliott's a fucking idiot. Do you know Jane Elliott?
Why is she an idiot?
The blue eyes. It's the blue eyes.
She done the blue eye brown eye
thing.
thing.
Third grade.
Oh, she's an idiot because she exposed racism. Because she's exposing it. And that's why you have to be a devil, because only a devil is going to try and hide the truth.
Hey, listen.
Yeah, this white woman had death threats. This white woman was oppressed because she came out and done a blue eye, brown eye test and treated white people.
third graders.
1 minute.
So they
She
abused
treated
each
white
other.
people different. No, she did it with adults as well. She did it with adults as well.
But the children
See
actually
the devil?
abused each other.
See the devil? She's
That's your
pointing out
child
as children, but it was adults as well. You understand? But what she done is she treated them differently based upon their eyes, and from that she saw the difference in how they've done. They done worse academically. They was unhappy. She saw the diary. And there's so many of them, and they all come out the same. You understand? With the same result. So in that she said, this is how black people feel. And you know what happened? They sent her parents death threats. They sent her death threats, and people like him called her an idiot.
Calling someone an idiot is not sending them a death threat.
No, I'm just saying.
Don't make the.
Why is she an idiot?
It's a false test. The whole thing was a false test.
No, it exposes the racism, and you don't like that. You don't like the fact that racism
I don't
is
like
being
that
exposed.
you are being racist. I'm not talking about
I'm
this.
not being racist. I haven't said anything. I'm saying what Jane Elliott done, and you're saying I'm being racist.
What's the
That's called a
filthiest
deflection, mate. What I'm saying is, you.
No, I called you racist before we talked about Jane Elliott, just to be clear.
Okay, what have I said?
I actually said it
Say
several
one
times.
statement that I've said
Because
that
you
is
discriminated against white people. You basically said that a white homeless guy is better off than a black, without any evidence whatsoever.
So what we're saying
So
is,
that's a racist statement in itself. You
we're-
also said that white
How many
guys,
of them go to
white
rehab
guys on the
versus
stage,
the
you
ones
didn't
that
give a
go to
shit
prison?
about them.
what we're saying
and
is,
that's a racist
what we're
statement.
saying is,
That's what you actually said.
What we're saying is,
That's evidence out of your own mouth of your racism.
A white homeless person that's Eastern European, yeah, is
not the
worse
same.
off than a white person that's
Because
homeless
you
in
make
English.
this claim that you can't.
How? How?
Because of the prejudices in this country.
How? How does it? How does
But
But that's just words. How does it exert itself? How does it show itself?
How does it show itself?
Yeah.
Because basically
Because
the
the Polish guy
media.
gets deported. He doesn't go rehab, he gets deported. The black guy goes to prison. The white guy goes to rehab. Come on, there's a difference.
saying
bro.
every-
There is a difference.
When white people kill
There is a
people in
difference.
America, they always say there's a
I
mental
lived
health
in
issue.
Bournemouth, yeah, there's tons of drug rehab centers. I've
talking
never
about
seen one black guy in
homelessness.
any of those rehab centers.
Specific
That's a
subject was
fact.
homelessness.
That's a
Yeah, but
fact.
what we're saying is we're just pointing out different places in which are white privilege.
Based
You're
on
saying
evidence, of
a
course.
white
I'm
homeless
saying to you, I
person
live
has
next
white
door.
privilege.
I've said that.
How?
Straw man.
How? Where's the evidence for it? What benefit do they get from being white and homeless that a black homeless person doesn't get? What benefit are they enjoying?
Because when you're black, you have to work twice as hard.
They're homeless, they're not working. What are you talking about?
Because in order to get work. So what I'm saying is the
He hasn't proven that for
okay, the black homeless guy with the African name, when he does try to get a job, and the white homeless guy with the name James at the end, when he does try to get a job, he's got it easier to get a job. That's just one little way.
And you have evidence for that. You have evidence for that.
So do you need him to say
You have evidence for what you're saying.
All of these tests have been done.
What homeless people trying to get jobs?
No,
You're talking about homeless people.
getting
Oh,
jobs
so you're
based
just
upon their
applying
last
it to
name.
another
No, you're
situation.
talking about another situation.
People getting jobs because of their last name.
There are stackloads of black people that are called John. What are you talking about? They're indistinguishable on the application form.
And
on
they
the
get the
CV.
jobs.
Exactly, when they're indistinguishable. He's saying when they have African or black sounding names. Follow the conversation, bro. You're not that slow. You're doing it purposely. You're doing it purposely. You are.
It's cool. You know it's diversion.
Of course.
No, it's not at all. No, it's not at all.
Them man have been in speakers corner so long, they're very good at manipulating, innit? But you can't manipulate the truth, Steve. So when you go against these other guys, I know you got some, but against the
Steve's
truth,
just
you
asking
can't.
for evidence, brother. That's it.
But
We're just giving you evidence.
Giving you
Every time you give
You
evidence.
haven't. With all respect, you have not given any
There's no
evidence.
So you're saying that
You're just saying
people who
stuff.
are discriminated against and can't get jobs because of the sound of their name.
We were
that's
talking about
evidence.
homelessness and
But
trying to
we
find
showed you
evidence
that. But we
for
showed
black
you,
homeless
in
people
order for you to
suffering
get-
more than white
in
homeless
order for you to
people.
get out of
BBC did
one minute. In order for you to get out of homelessness, what would you have to get? A job, right?
A home. No, a home.
No. But
You
in
get a
order-
home.
In order to get
That's
a home,
how it gets out of homelessness.
In order to get a
It's not
home,
in the word.
in order to get a home, you need money, and in order to get money, you need a job.
Oh, so there's no one got a home that's not got a job. Really? You really believe that?
What do you mean? No one owns
There's
their
no one that's got a home. You don't have to own your home to have a home, do you?
No, what I'm
The
saying.
majority of London don't own their
What I'm
home.
saying is, yeah, if you was to own your home, or you was to pay for rent in your place, yeah, or you was to even have a
You're not aware
place,
of housing benefit. You're not aware of council housing.
even
You're
with
not aware of
housing benefits,
housing
you're going to
associations.
need money to live. You're going to need some sort of money,
called-
and in order to
called
have
job
that
seekers
money,
allowance.
in order to have that money, I don't know about all that. You understand? So maybe I'm
He's claiming that there is 100% discrimination. That's what you're saying, right? When you go for a job, they
Definitely,
discriminate.
man.
Okay.
And it's not always.
we need evidence
Like
for
I
that,
said, there's a guy called Horace.
We can't just have you telling us.
No, fam. I don't need to give you evidence because what
don't
I'm trying
care.
to show you. No, because I'm not trying to convince you of anything. I
no,
know.
we got that.
I
You were
know.
proselytising in front of the camera.
I genuinely believe that you know exactly what we're talking about, and I genuinely.
Yeah, we're all
believe
devils.
that
It's all a plan.
That you're deliberately.
Deliberately what?
I genuinely you're trying to deliberately
just treating people
pretend
fairly. Yeah, that's
like
exactly
you
what
don't
we're doing.
understand what we're saying. I believe that you fully understand when you sit on your sofa at night and you know what black people are going through. I think we can all see it. I think we can all see what Asians go through. I think we can all see what Eastern Europeans go through. I think we can all see it with our own eyes. So I'm not trying to
What do
convince
Eastern
you of
Europeans
anything.
go through? What are they going
The
through?
prejudice.
Not trying to convince
Really? Polish people are going
Stay
through
on track. Don't
prejudice.
you're trying to
100.
convince this man. You can't convince this man. Stay
The
on
Russians going through that same prejudice?
100.
Russians. Most of them are multimillionaires, aren't they, in London?
most of Russia.
I don't think these guys know what prejudice really is. That's the reality. If they did,
Most
what we call
millionaires
this
in
prejudice.
London are pretty rich, aren't they?
Point, you can say stuff without evidence and it's fine.
But are you denying the fact that most Russians in London
Russians in
don't
London-
own
I don't
know.
shed
Where's your
loads?
evidence?
Show me
rich.
evidence. Where's your evidence?
Oligarchs.
Where's your evidence?
Chelsea, go and
That's
have a
not
look.
evidence.
Go and
That
have a
is
look.
not evidence. And that's what I'm saying. This whole time you've been screaming out for evidence. We asked
And this is how we get exposed
And where is
racism.
it?
Because when black people present an argument, we don't get accepted. When he gets presents an argument, we all have to accept it.
Because
No
it's
evidence at all.
Such a false setup.
You guys are about guiding a new generation. Why do you deal with this shit? Because that's not going to help. That's not guiding a new
Are you
generation.
listening? I like that question. I like that question. I like that question. There's not once on guiding a new generation when we've had any topic, any GSO topic about racism. I try my best.
Why you done spent the last hour
Listen,
talking
I
about
try my best to stay away from this white black topic.
Good.
You understand?
You haven't done that tonight, have you?
Listen. But what I will not do is I will not run away from the topic. Yeah, I'm not running into it because because if I deal with white people, if I talk about white people every day, it's not going to help black people. If I show love to black people every day, it's going to help our situation. So my energy showing hate to white people ain't going to solve our situation. My energy is better served showing more love to our daughters and showing them that they're beautiful and showing love to our sons and showing them not to kill each other. So that's where my energy goes. Saying that, when the topic of racism comes up, I'm not going to run away. I'm not going to Hyde.
Guys like Ian Wright don't go on about racism, do they? Just as one example of a successful black guy.
Why?
He gets on with his life.
No, because
and
they.
it's a
No,
success.
listen.
He focuses on the positive, not on the negative.
Listen, my name's not Ian Wright, yeah? Because my people ain't eating right, yeah? Because they got paid off of being white and we got paid off of being
Just
white.
talk normally.
Yeah?
So what's your point about Ian Wright? What the hell was that point about Ian Wright? You lost me.
Don't worry. Watch it back. Rewind it and get it. You'll get it.
I don't think we'll be.
Will I get it?
No,
think
listen.
Leon's
You don't like Ian Wright?
Listen, Mum never.
don't like Ian Wright?
Mum never gave me no time because she gave her whole life to Jesus Christ. But how could we see the light when we see the light? Bill paid when we see the light. And they just want to see us die because that's a pay raise for the CSI. See, they got paid off of being white.
Is this just a rap?
Well,
or do you
we got
actually
paid
mean
off of
this?
being
Do
white.
you actually mean this?
It's like we ain't got no peace inside if we ain't in the rave with the peace inside. With no one to teach us right, so we made our home the base like DIY. Then we told ourselves the deepest lie. Like we got it, we don't need advice. No one taught about the birds and the bees, but we out here doing birds for the bee. Look, listen, Satan and his masons corrupted all the people. No traces on their faces, can't spot it like the measles. Invaded in the slave.
Believe this stuff, or just because it rhymes?
Listen. Satan and his masons corrupted all the people. No traces on their faces, can't spot it like the
Who
measles.
is Masons?
Invaded in the slave ships and no one clocked the weasels. Raided from the snake pit and did it so deceitful. The bravest fought against it, the lions and the eagles, but they could not maintain it. Division is a weak force. In ages that are ancient, we used to live so peaceful till they chained us up in hatred and poverty is deceitful. Came into a nation and poisoned it with evil. Based us up in cages, being dark skin was illegal. From babies to old ladies, the judgment was so lethal. Famous for the A's that they bring in with their needles. Brainless education, that's what they teach in these schools. Making estimations, trying to deceive all. They say they calculated, the legal just went equal.
I hope this is working for the cameras, that ain't working for me.
I say their maths is basic, we're royal and we're regal. You understand? You'll get it later.
No, I don't.
Mars.
Gang. So, are you going to shake a hand then?
I don't shake hands, I spun.
Alright.
Oh, he spuds. Okay.
Gang shit only.
What's that?
Gang shit only. We're not doing cultural appropriation, you got to appropriate class of that.
Oh, I see.
We've been doing a handshake.
So you're even making that a racist issue as well, are you?
No, but I don't know why we like to feel up man's hand and man pick out their back and their nose.
Get me.
You know what I'm saying? Man do all sorts of nasty things with their hands.
But they're good, those germs for you, brother. They're good. They make you
There's a
resilient.
nastiness to
Build
the
your immune system.
There's a nastiness. That's how we have to come as the Moors and tell man to bathe their skin.
That sounds a bit Muslim, though.
It's called conquest.
But then look, are you saying that the bogey and the batty thing on your hand is nice germs? What kind of thing is that? What kind of doo-doo when you dig inside your fingernails is nice germs?
I use toilet paper, what are you talking about?
No,
I don't use
because
my
I said
nails.
it's good germs. I said that the reason why
They're
man
good
don't
for
shake
you. They're
hands.
germs, they're good for you.
Build
They
up
build
your
the immune
immunity.
system.
Nah, it's good for you, baby. It's bad for me. That'll make me dead. You're sick and I'm
No, it'll make you healthier.
No. They're kind of
I guess evolution's off the
kind of
table.
guy that eats his own. He's the kind of guy that eats his own toenails. You know like that.
Racism and evolution as well there, I think. Steve, it's been a pleasure, as always, sir.
Have a good week.
You too. Take care, you spud man.
Rub up the
We're going
hand.
to do this again when you're less willing to
No.
rap my arse off. I feel
Me not
bored
rap.
fuckers
No man's
with
ass.
rap. I'm bored.
No man's ass me no rap.
I'm going to bring a white man rap next time.
Happily married,
A
man.
non-racist white man rap.
But me not rap no ass. Me not rap no ass. Uno rap asses. You get me? Run there for man, run. Run there for man, run. Run there for man, run. Fireman. Run there for man, run. Fireman. Content over everything.